A little while ago, I fell upon a quote written by Dan Peterson that read, "Paper doesn't save people, people save people." Immediately after coming across it, it stopped me right dead in my tracks, and I felt this tugging at my heart, which, if my heart could speak, would say, I felt that. As a nonprofit employee, I saw firsthand how the paper, which is symbolic of the figurative visual used to depict policies and guidelines, are just the guiding principles, so to speak. But really, it's the people who bring about the policies to life through demonstration, through their words, through their execution of right processes in their daily walk and action that matters the most and will really bring about the level of change needed for the level of productivity to increase so that others can really further the mission-driven work that most nonprofits engage in. Hearing that quote forever changed me. It really helped me to see my humanity and the humanity of others in the transactional work that we do as employees working for a larger conglomerate on a day-to-day basis. It was then that I decided to devote the remainder of my days empowering not just myself and others, but to help them in a way so that they can look forward to putting people over profit. At the time, I didn't fully know how I was going to do it, but I knew that I was up for the challenge. I didn't know how I was going to show up or how I was going to show up, but I was absolutely ready for the challenge. Dan Peterson's quote was a lesson that I wanted to see demonstrated, not just in my physical life, but also in my personal life. But because I witnessed after being in the for-profit as well as the nonprofit sector, working for C-suite executives for over 10 years, just how paper really didn't save people and how it was rather people who saved people. But at the time, I really wasn't seeing people saving people. So you can kind of see the conundrum where I was somewhat skeptical of Mr. Peterson's words. So as cliche as it sounds, sometimes we must really be the change that we wish to see in the world. If we are working for a company where the expectation is you either sink or you swim, sometimes we may have to pull ourselves out of that boat wreck and learn to swim our way to safety. Again, to be the change or to pull yourself out of that boat wreck reference may look different for everyone. But for me particularly, it meant rewriting policies and procedures that were not only mindful of the diversification of the readership, but it also meant in words and in actions, upholding those policies and procedures. Those two things, although small in my eyes, was how I was really going to move the needle as it related to saving people in a work context. So creating safe space was huge and it was important in this process. Creating safe space in the workforce, it went beyond lighting, it went beyond break spaces, it went beyond first aid kits, it went beyond trip hazards, policies and procedures, and it went beyond those things. And it also incorporated adding all of those things together as a collective so that employees could not only feel seen, but that they can also feel heard in such a way that it improves their productivity and their overall fulfillment at work was a particular purpose that I was focused on accomplishing. I have, for as long as I could remember, been someone who knew my purpose in life was to live and to be of service to others. I shared what I shared with you thus far just to illustrate a few key points. So at this time, if you guys want to take something down to write with, I encourage you to do so. So those key points are, we said this earlier, but I want to reiterate, being the change you wish to see in the world. Do not worry so much about how you're going to be equipped to be the change, and just be it. Creating safe space is also another important key point. Creating the safe space, it really exceeds avoiding and providing provisions that are going to prevent physical hazards. It's really about being seen. It's also about being heard. It's also about being acknowledged for the things and the ways that we show up at work. And lastly, your life has more meaning when you enable it to be driven by purpose. So I want all who are listening to be the change you wish to see in the world. Even if it's uncool, even if it's scary, even if it's unpopular, even if it's not the thing that you want to do. In a world of uniformity, it is important to have that and to go against the grain. We always have those people who are going against the grain. Maybe that person is you. So break the standard of uniform practice. Someone is counting on you to do it. Did you know that the world improves best when change is being received most? Do not trouble yourself with learning how to be equipped to be the change, and just really focus on being it. If you don't feel safe in your workplace, whether it's, I don't feel like I'm being seen and I don't feel like I'm being heard, do what you can on a daily basis if you're not ready to move on to another place of employment, to really take what's on paper as it relates to policies and procedures that really guide the corporation's principles and bring it to life in whatever small way that you can. Whether that means making it a point to not have a meeting after a meeting, if that's the part that you can do, and if that means, I'm not going to gossip, I'm not going to participate in that, then so be it. That small thing could be your contribution to making the workplace a better place. Studies after studies are showing that employees who work in an environment where, in addition to having physical safety, there's also that emotional safety. They tend to be employees that are not only more fulfilled, but they are more productive workers. And lastly, before I end with our last point, I want to say that purpose really is the reason that we get up in the morning. Purpose is the reason why we create. Purpose is the reason why I am here right now, and why you're here right now. And purpose is the reason why we wake up and do it all over again daily. It is a daily practice that we have to commit to. So I want to ask you, will you prioritize safety in your workspace after today? Will you prioritize emotional safety in the workspace after today? If that answer is yes, I am elated. I want to tell you now, and I want to encourage you now, and encourage all who are watching, that is very much worth it. My name is Gessie Belizaire, and I'm a speaker, a certified life coach, and a nonprofit employee. Thank you so much for having me today. I want to extend a special thank you to Nonprofit CEO for allowing me the opportunity to share the virtual stage with a handful of dynamic speakers. Enjoy the conference.